Hello, my name is Gerben Vries and welcome to Conscious Yes. Can you tell the truth to yourself, about yourself? Telling the truth, your compass heading, being towards truth, towards whatever is actually there, the fact about your feelings, about the outer world, whatever your experiences are about yourself, your relationship to everything. And we are in relationship to everything around us, not just the romantic relationships, but the relationship with whatever we have an interest in, whatever there's a connection with. Animals and our ego, our personality, ourselves, in that way. Relationship with our feelings. We have a relationship to everybody we meet, right? To inanimate objects. Whenever there's a reaction, there's a relationship. And wherever there's a relationship, there is so much to learn and so much truth to be told about what is going on inside of you, your reactions, the feelings that come up, the thoughts, the different ideas and concepts about what comes up. And there's so much to learn. And I've gone into learning in another video, which you can find on my YouTube channel. But this balance of learning that is not done through only thought, but the balance between the empirical and rational learning, finding out, which is a finding out that is done through seeing, through insight, seeing the whole of something. And I've gone over how in judgment we're constantly trying to fragment, and we're constantly trying to measure and label our experience and cut up our life's experience and cut it up in little pieces that we can memorize, but in that way we never really experience the whole, because we're so bound to and so loyal to cutting everything up, because we don't know anything else. Cutting up is just that fragmenting of your experiences, of your whatever your life is going through right now in the present moment. And we cannot do without that. It's something that we need to function, for language to take place and for us to do our jobs and do anything else, to function in life. But when we do not see the whole of things, when we do not see, when we do not have insight, with that we can see a paradox, for instance. How in logic something is either true or false, and can we see the whole of it? Can we see both sides of things? Can we be and not be, No exclusion of the middle ground. And in relationship, everything is the middle ground, right? It's never really true or false. Whatever we go through in life ourselves, life itself for us, your personal experience of your life, is not black and white, right? There's a constant in between. It's very complex, it's very nuanced. And complexity is not something we really, for a lot of people, we don't really like. We like to keep it, cut it up in simple, true or false, or wrong and right, and complexity. That's why in politics, complexity is sort of shied away from, because it means reality, to face reality in complexity. So politicians will, shout out these one-liners: "You're with us or you're against us," and we're gonna make cuts here and there. So, it's that shouting, and then people go, yeah, all that jazz. And complexity, the beauty of that, which is really the intelligence to grasp the whole, seeing the whole. And with the whole, I mean the not, which is the definition, I guess, the not cutting of your experience. when your senses are operating, you can go through your senses one by one. Yeah, you can focus on just your eyesight or your hearing. But can they all work together and interpret, including your feelings, your emotions, your inner eye, so to speak? And can you just be there with all this input? Can we just be there with whatever arises, right? And really that is what is telling the truth is. Being not immediately judging your current situation, to do something with your current situation, which is what our tendency is in general, is to jump, to go with something. In the morning you wake up and immediately thought comes in with the things you have to do. Make your coffee, go to work, check your emails, browse the news, whatever. And then we have a lot of pulls in that way. And we have such a strong alliance to thought, to thinking, to the mental images, is that it almost has a gun against our head. It's almost like we do not even have the option to not go with our thoughts, to not go with what thought projects or what thought comes up with, right? To not go with a sexual urge, or to not go with certain emotions. We feel empowered, when we feel we're right in a certain situation and somebody's wrong, we feel very empowered by that, right? There's that me against you. And that me against you is what we're being played with a lot in politics and in geopolitics, just how the world is run. Me versus you. And the ego loves that, because for a moment, the ego then has an identity. For a moment, the ego says, this is me. And in saying this is me for a moment, it's very concrete. It feels like it's real. Can we tell the truth about that? Can we see, in the moment when it happens, how our allegiance are with thought, and we get pulled left to right? Can we sit with that, not judge that to be bad immediately? The ego wants to be concrete. It wants to be loved. It wants to be at peace so badly. You want to be at peace so badly, to be happy, just to be. Yeah, that does everything in its power, the ego, to separate oneself, to separate me from everything else, from everybody else. Can you see how we do that? How it's so hypocritical in that way. How we want to be loved so badly. But it's not smart enough in many ways. It's not intelligent enough to see that we do everything in our power to create its opposite. Not understanding both sides of the coin. Not understanding eternity and not understanding death in that way. In separating myself, in saying you're wrong, I'm right, and I stand by that, right? That solid, how we cling to our emotions, how often in feeling sorrow, we inflate our sense of self, right? That feels good somehow, because we can identify so strongly with that sorrow. I'm sad because of this and this and this, and therefore there's almost like an excuse to feel that way and to be okay with that. So we think we can be safe, that we can be secure by shutting everybody out. I'm right and you're wrong. That way we try to be secure, right? For a moment we feel peace. It's like in high school, our girlfriend tells us that she loves us, and there's just that, you can feel for a moment, a few days you feel completely okay, but then you need that again. It's the addiction of, you need again that input of, you need another hit, so to speak, right? We get that high from things, but it's temporary. And this is how we bob on in life. This is how we keep on functioning. By constant small hits, temporary hits of concreteness, of being, of having peace, of being okay for a while. Do you know what I mean? Of existing for a while. And everything of that lies in the mental realm. Whatever the ego tries to identify with is in the mental realm of pictures, of ideas, of smoking that cigarette later, of ideas of being loved, ideas of me versus you, my anger. I'm angry for this reason, that fortifying of oneself. Can we not go against that? In other words, that's how the mind would work, that's how thought would work. Would see that problem and then say, I'm going to do its opposite. That's how I solve problems. The mind solves problems that way, of creating its opposite. It sees something and says that's wrong, and then it creates its opposite, like peace and violence, right? Violence and peace. So can we for a moment, and this is what telling the truth is not even calling it truth, or calling it so. It happens, so it is so, it's a factual, life happens, something comes up. I am mad at somebody, and that I feel justified. And maybe that's completely, being mad or being angry can be completely justifiable. Like it has its place. Do you know, when you feel abused and you get angry, you feel like somebody's overstepping their boundaries, you feel angry, that can be very healthy. There's a point where the ego starts to come in and takes over. And it's not even the ego itself, because again, the ego also has its place. Like in the physical realm, the ego is very necessary. There has to be this I in life just to function, right? Because there's me, separate from everybody else. I need that to function. But in that case, I becomes more a location. Like saying here or there. Me. Feels very free to me. It's just me. There's just me here. And from here, this is sort of my center from which I operate. But then there's the psychological me, the psychological I. That wants to survive and that think it has to do things to be concrete. Like we just went over how it wants to identify, right? Because it's so afraid that it's not. It's so afraid. It's so afraid that it's dying, that it's not going to be. Can we tell the truth? And telling the truth is learning. It is seeing the whole of how you operate, where you're not particularly attached to an outcome. This is the beauty of discussion. If you can be in that place of, you don't care about the outcome, you just want to tell the truth. You want to follow information, see what the information leads to. And then you can come to beautiful discoveries, beautiful insights that can show you things about life that you could have never imagined. Never imagined. How different life can be from the way that we get raised in general. The way that how we grow up in a certain culture, society, in the ideas of what's wrong and right, and the ideas of how we should live a life. What's the common consensus about a good life, right? About success, about being a person. If you follow for yourself, follow your life, follow yourself. With no ideas, no attachments, do you know? No judgment. Because what do you have to lose? There is a lot to lose. For the ego, there's a ton to lose. Everything is to lose. Because there's a constant lost benefit going on. How can I personally, as a person, benefit from this situation? How can I, as a person, lose from this situation? That is the judgment that is constantly going on. Which is illusionary, right? Because in fact, my personality cannot gain anything. I cannot gain like I can gain something in the body, in the physical realm. I can make money, gain money in the physical realm, right? I can buy gold or whatever. I cannot add to myself psychologically. That's very important to see, because from there you can tell the truth. From there you have nothing to lose. From there you can come from nothing. And when you come from nothing, you can see the world for what it is, right? When you come from something, when you have something to lose or to gain, you cannot see clearly. And from this not clear view, we make all our decisions. We take our actions. So it will always have unclear outcomes. And we all do this. Not to be judged or bad. This is just where we're at right now. And from telling the truth, from seeing that, seeing how we operate, we're not lying about it, right? Lying will be escaping, saying, well, that's just how we are. Basta, right? That's just human nature. That's escapism. That's not saying the truth. Just look at it. Because truth has to be self-evident. Excuse me. It has to be true for itself. It has to be there for you to look at and not shy away. Truth will always look you back into the eyes, right? It will say like, yeah, I'm here. Take a good look. And when we see the truth with the whole of our being, and that sounds a little abstract, it is simply noticing. It's simply being there at the point of where thoughts come in. Reality hits you. Meditation is great for that, as long as you don't use meditation to get somewhere else, right? To add to yourself, to change yourself, which is escapism, right? It's not dealing with the fact. So, a simple way really is just to be in the body, right? To feel your belly, feel your body, and from there look out in the world and have your eyes look. Not have your eyes be your thoughts. Not look with your thinking, not look with your thoughts. And having an insight is seeing the whole of how something moves, how the mind moves, how thought moves, how our emotions move. And if you tell the truth, it doesn't matter, again, what the outcome is, but anything that's false has the ability to change, right? When something is false, see, this is really interesting when you really delve into the body and into your feet, into your energy field, for lack of better words. In your energy, you start to tell what is true and false in your energy field. There's that intelligence of what something is. They can have that insight of what is. I don't know if that makes sense, but there's really what I'm trying to say is that not knowing is such a beautiful place. To not know, to not want to know. And when you come from nothing, then things can just be. So that's a little bit about telling the truth. Which has nothing to do with knowledge. Truth, if you follow it, it will always keep on changing. And not truth changing, but false will constantly keep on changing. And so if you want to change ourselves, if we look around and you see the false, and you're completely there with the whole of you, it will change. And it's not a change that is opposed from the mind, composed from above. Not some ideas, because so many people had ideas about what the world should look like, and it's incredibly destructive. What a human being should look like, how it should act. Ethics, right? If you follow that, you'll come to something completely different. And then that is the learning, that is the seeing of the truth, that is the being truth. And from there you can be, it's not a giving permission for destructive behavior or anything like that. It's not like just letting yourself completely go wild and saying, well, that's just what I am and I'm telling the truth. Be sensitive, be subtle in your what is going on. You can let yourself be, but be there at the point where things come in. Immediately tell the truth. And you'll see initially that you find it impossible to be there at the point where thoughts come in. Because you feel that you're always one step behind thoughts. Because we're so centered in thoughts. Thoughts rule the show. But do they? Do you know? If you look for yourself, keep following yourself, keep following the information in yourself, you'll see the truth of all this. Hope it's been helpful to you. Have a very good day, and I'll see you again in another video. Thank you. Bye.